There's something about pixel art that just appeals to everyone. Maybe because unlike the more realistic graphics of modern AAA games, pixel art just feels more handcrafted and personal. And its simplicity makes you think of the old days of gaming, when everything didn't seem so dire. And it was in those old days that pixel art was king. Because back in the 80s and 90s, the visual style was everywhere. I mean, not that game developers really had much of a choice, 3D graphics were just too expensive and complicated. And the PCs and consoles of the time would literally explode before they could even render a single frame of it. So, because of that, game developers had to work within the restraints of the hardware they were given, and use their vibrant creativity and insane art skills to squeeze out the maximum amount of detail from the fewest amount of pixels and a very limited color palette. And although the technical capabilities of the NES meant games could only look so good, it was with the release of the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis that pixel art was able to really shine. Devs were finally able to showcase their true artistic talent and blast our eyeballs with stunning pixelated creations and make every tiny pixel count. Their talent brought us the crayon aesthetic of Yoshi's Island, the rich characters of Chrono Trigger, the grassy hills of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the sprawling world of Hyrule in A Link to the Past. And still years later, these games look just as fresh and visually stunning as they did upon release. Even though they might not be as detailed and realistic as modern games, the devs used the tools they had to their fullest, and with the help of CRTVs and a little bit of imagination, we were left with worlds that we can get lost in for hours. These pixelated designs brought our favorite characters to life, and in some ways are able to better represent the feel of the game over the modern version. That's why it was this era in particular that set the standard for visual design in gaming, creating a legacy that continues to inspire and influence game design today. And it's why so many look back at this design aesthetic fondly. It just feels right, regardless of your age or gaming experience. But the love for the pixel art aesthetic wouldn't last, because a fancy new technology was on the horizon. And by the time blocky low-poly 3D graphics hit the mainstream, pixel art was considered a dinosaur. People just didn't care about these highly detailed pixel backgrounds and sprites anymore. They cared about Lara Croft's dangerously sharp boobies and exploding a guy with a rocket in Quake. Suddenly, pixel art just wasn't cool. And the leap from 2D to 3D came fast and hard. Because with the launch of shiny new hardware, games were finally able to hit you with dynamic visuals like never before, and allowed you to explore them in any direction, no longer limited to just a 2D plane. This generational shift wasn't just about better graphics though. 3D assets were just a lot easier to modify and update, which made game development much more flexible. Pixel art was too much of an extreme time sink to produce, and the style couldn't keep up with the evolving demands of gamers. And so, pixel art took a backseat while everyone's favorite franchises started to make the leap 3D. Mario turned 3D with a game that many still consider to be one of the best of all time. Final Fantasy VII brought Midgar to life with a mix of pre-rendered backgrounds and stunning battle animations. And even Link left the 2D world of Hyrule behind for his first foray into the 3D realm with Ocarina of Time. Then, with games like Metal Gear Solid 2 released in 2001 and Resident Evil 4 released in 2005, we had even more proof that games with stunning visuals was all that really mattered to gamers. And as the years went by and AAA games continued to look better and better, realistic graphics have become one of the main selling points. Sure, pixel art managed to hang around with handheld games, but kinda seemed like the age of pixel art was over. But wait, pixel art didn't die. In fact, it's bigger than ever, and it's all thanks to independent developers. While pixel art stuck around as long as it could through the Game Boy Advance's life cycle, it wasn't until the indie scene really started booming that pixel art was brought back to the limelight. Indie games really embraced pixel art with wide open arms, proving that the old school visual style is far from outdated, and in many cases, actually preferred. These devs' attachment to the timeless pixelated style brought us games like Katana Zero, a fast-paced action game featuring stylish neo-noir pixel art. Or Stardew Valley, a relaxing farming sim set in a charming pixel art world. Or Celeste, a challenging platformer with perfect controls, enhanced by its expressive yet simple pixel art. And then of course there's Octopath Traveler, which isn't an indie, but it blends classic pixel style with stunning 3D effects for a visual treat to create a whole new style called HD 2D. These games, and many others like them, showcase how pixel art can be both nostalgic and innovative. And it shows us that while games like Hellblade 2 can exist with some of the most realistic looking character models ever created, there can be games like Sea of Stars, which bring back the classic feeling of Chrono Trigger with a fresh coat of paint that perfectly fits into the modern gaming landscape. And as advancements are made in the 3D space, 2D artists have actually learned to adapt tools and techniques that blend with pixel art to create something absolutely stunning like this game right here. And creating pixel art isn't easy. It takes a lot of time to produce something like this. So any developer that goes down this route shows that they love the art form and that they're really putting their heart into it. I mean, just look at it. It looks great. There's a clear reason why so many indie devs and even large developers like Square Enix choose to go down the pixel art route over the low poly models from the early days of the PlayStation 1. Good pixel art just has a timeless appeal that players love. It's able to do so much with so little and present us with worlds and characters that are rich and vibrant and in many ways more memorable and stunning than a lot of the modern 3D games we see. It's an art style that will always be appreciated and never fade away. And I hope we see an HD 2D version of Chrono Trigger.